Everybody, welcome to another great edition here on the Bailey Pod on Thursday night. I hope everybody had a good week and is off to a good week. Got out, saw some teams play last week. Tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different in the show. We got two great guests in the actual show tonight from Guilford High School, and then also too we're going to be joined by Scott Leber, the one and only Scott Leber tonight. So we're going to get into some things, but first and foremost, I want to go ahead and just give a quick shout out to a young lady. Who is a cousin of mine who was hired over to Auburn High School probably about a month or a month and a half ago, took over the Lady Knights program, Neasia Taylor. Neasia Taylor, I want to say congrats, cousin. You deserved it. I'm rooting for you. Let's go, Lady Knights. So congrats to Neasia Taylor on the great hiring over at Auburn High School. Auburn couldn't have hired a better coach. So good luck to you, Neasia. Guys, also, too, over the last couple weeks, you guys have probably heard about some injuries that have happened. You've probably heard about some other injuries that have happened probably about a month or two ago with some guys that are near and dear to my heart, clients as well, ex-clients. Fred VanVleet, not Toronto Raptors, but Fred VanVleet, Houston Rockets, tore his ACL. I want to say good luck to Fred. Speedy recovery, man. I'm rooting for you. I know you'll be back on your feet in no time. Dean Lowry, again, ACL, went down about a couple months ago. I think he's doing well. He's recovering from the procedure of the ACL he went down with a month ago with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then also, too, Rob Jones, Dallas Cowboys with a neck injury. Big Rob, hey, good luck, man. I hope you recover well. Hope to see you back in the Cowboys uniform sooner than later. So, again, good luck to those guys. And, again, guys, speedy recovery to you. Guys, we're going to go ahead and continue to move through the show. But usually before we actually get into the show, I allow my viewers to go grab a little popcorn. You know, I'm a popcorn guy. Go grab a little popcorn. It's going to be that type of snack night tonight here on the Bailey Pod because, again, it's action-packed. We got a lot percolating, folks. Again, guys, hey, let's get ready to go. Go get your neighbors. Go get your cousins. Go get your grandmas. Go get your sisters. Go get your brothers because it's going to be that type of night here on the Bailey Pod. Let's get ready to go. Welcome to the Bailey Pod. Hey. Again, welcome to the Bailey Pod. I'll be bringing you the Bailey Pod every Thursday. Again, every Thursday here via YouTube. You can catch the Bailey Pod. I'll be bringing you conversations with coaches, players. I'll also, too, be bringing on media. Come in and talk with me about the game, breaking down the game of the week. This past week, our game of the week was Hononegah and Guilford. We'll be getting into that in just a moment. Before I start the show and get into the heat of the show, I just want to remind you guys to go follow, go like the Bailey Pod. It means a lot to me when you guys do that. You go follow, you go like. I'll continue to serve you great content week in and week out. You keep coming, I'll keep serving. But again, I want to say thank you for actually viewing the Bailey Pod and subscribing for those who have subscribed. If you're on the fence about subscribing, well, you don't know until you watch it. So go subscribe. We're going to go ahead and move on, get into the actual heart of the show. Tonight, I'm going to be bringing on two great athletes in the Nick 10 from Guilford High School. Messiah Tilson, not Messiah Tilson is not with us tonight. He couldn't make it. Greyson Weber, top right. How you doing, Greyson?
Good. How are you?
Good. And then also to Keysan Taylor. Keysan, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Good to see you guys. Hey, guys, congrats on the start to a great season. You guys are now sitting at 3-1. You guys are coming off a huge victory over the weekend against Hononegah. Weber, I'm going to start with you. You're the actual general of that offense, and a lot of things that happens offensively begins and ends with you. You had a great night against Hononegah the other night. Looked like to me you really found your rhythm. You got hot first half, and you continue to stay hot, and you actually were able to get your team that victory on Friday night. Talk to us a little bit about your performance on Friday night individually.
Yeah, I feel like I had a good performance against Hononegah. I felt like I did my job. I came into the game prepared. My coaches really helped me out, gave me a good game plan. Told me what to look out for, told me what we were going to run. So I feel like early on, I got in a good rhythm with a couple quick, screens and short outs that just, helped me get my rhythm, get hot. It also helped having, Chris Porter out there. He was running the ball really well. So that took a lot of pressure off me, kind of helped open up the offense. But yeah, things just started to get rolling. I got a big touchdown pass to Messiah in the second quarter, and after that, it was just continuous completions and moving of the offense.
Sure. You had a really hot night. Is this something that we can continue to expect from you moving forward through these next 5 weeks? Again, you guys are sitting at 3-1. Looking at your schedule, you guys have a great opportunity to possibly win out. I know you guys wish you could get that game back against Hananiga. You'd guys be sitting at 4-0 and going into Harlem at 4-0. But again, I'm sure you guys will take the 3-1 because you guys are at the top seats of the conference right now. Talk to me a little bit about where you are right now, Weber, mentally going into this game this week against Harlem.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. Obviously, it's great to come off a big win like that against Hananiga, but we know that we got a really good team in Harlem coming up. They're at the top of the conference right now in B North, so we know we got to win if we want to stay in the run for Nick 10 championship. But yeah, I mean, I feel good in myself. I've watched a lot of film. My coaches have gone through a lot of the game plan with me, and I think I know what to expect. I know what to look for, and yeah, I'm ready to go out there and play them and give it my best.
Sure. Taylor, I'm going to come to you. You're that two-way player. You're on both sides of the ball. This year we are seeing a lot of two-way players here in the Nick 10. Speak to us a little bit about your success thus far on offense and defense, because again, what you're able to do on both sides of the ball is nothing short of sensational. At times do you feel that going both ways is benefiting you more, or is it not is it hurting you? Just come out and just ask you that.
I think it's most definitely benefiting me. So I think it helps me get ready for college. Being in college, you're gonna be running a lot, being tired. Just the mental part of it, being tired and still being able to play at your best. So yeah, I think it's most definitely helping me for the future.
You had a big night. I got some stats here on you. You had a big night the other night. You had a couple pass breaks. I believe you had 4 solo tackles. How does that defense go when you're in that type of rhythm? Obviously, you guys had a really great outing against Hananiga. You were able to really stop that stingy run game that they have. You guys were able to put good pressure on the quarterback. Speak to me a little bit about your leadership on defense, and do guys actually go off of you in terms of your energy? Are you the actual fire to that defense, so to speak?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a big part of that locker room and defensive line room. Just try to keep all the guys up, especially when things go down or something bad happens. We face adversity. Just try to keep the guys together and just keep pounding every time, every play, and hopefully get the ball back to our quarterback right here, Greyson Leber.
Sure. So, guys, again, 3-1. You got a big weekend coming up. Talk to me a little bit about your prep this week as you guys get prepared for Harlem. What's that been like, Greyson?
I mean, yeah, really, it's a lot of the same stuff that we've already been working on. We're trying to fix little mistakes, especially the ones that we had last week with the 2 fumbles. But yeah, refining just the things that we've been working on all year, but also looking at, their offense, their defense, and seeing what we can take advantage of. So making adjustments to our offense, to our defense based on that.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about your run game. I know you guys have had some success on the ground with Porter in the backfield this year. He's really carrying the load, doing a really great job at that running back position. How is it important to you guys offensively, to get that run game going early, so then it can actually open up the pass and you guys can do what you do best?
Yeah, I mean, they go hand in hand, right? So I'm not going to be able to throw the ball if we can't run the ball, and he can't run the ball if I can't throw the ball. So I think the way our offense is designed, taking advantage of a lot of those RPOs, it forces the defense to spread out, lightens the box for Chris, and him and our great offensive line are able to take advantage of that. And same thing goes the other way. When they're moving the ball, they got to load up the box, and then it opens it up for me and my receivers.
Sure. You know, the other night when I saw you guys against Hananiga, speaking to you, Weber, you really weren't under a lot of duress. You look like when you were under duress, you look like your feet look better. I said something about you last year, that I thought that you got really great arm talent. I just said, he just needs to really work on his wiggle. He needs to work on his lateral movement. He needs to work on his quickness and his speed. And it looked like to me you did that during the offseason. How was that important for you to add that to your game to become a complete quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, that was something that me and my coaches noticed for sure last year. So that was a big working point over the past couple of weeks, and especially in the summer. It adds another level to our offense. If plays break down, then me buying that extra time, that extra couple seconds to make another play, really helps us out. And then in terms of the next level, every single quarterback there is a great athlete who not only has a great arm, but great legs. They're able to extend plays and, make something out of nothing. So I knew that was something I needed to add in my game. So it was a big working point.
Sure. How is the in terms of offense, Weber? I know your offensive line has done a phenomenal job of keeping you upright. How much credit do you owe to them to allow you to actually set back up there in that pocket and just throw to the great receivers that you have in Taylor and Tilson, and then also to Lopez?
Yeah, I mean it's amazing having such a great line like that. They're most of them are seniors, so they've been in these positions before, so they're experienced. They're ready to do their job for me. But it helps me a lot being a lot more comfortable in the pocket. Not to say anything about the years before, but I felt like this was the best line that I've had so far playing at Guilford. And it makes everything easier for me being able to sit back there comfortably, go through my reads, go through my progressions without, getting sped up, having to move out the pocket. It just helps our offense so much because they're really the center of the offense. You can't do anything without an O-line.
Matt, how important is it to have the gentleman sitting next to you right here on the podcast? How is it important to you to have him on that field on offense pretty much every series? I mean, when he's not in there, what do you miss? When he's in there, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, Keysan is very, multi-dimensional. He can do anything on the field, really. It helps in the run game. We'll put him in at tight end and he'll go kill anybody. He'll block anybody out. And, that really helps out Chris and helps out our line. But also in the receiving game, we can spread him out. We can go to him one-on-one. In concept, it doesn't really matter. I don't think there's any corner, linebacker, safety. It doesn't matter in the Nick 10 that can guard him. So I always got a guy that I can go to, a guy that's reliable, catch the ball. And that just, really helps me out when, it's 3rd down and 10 and there's someone I need to go to.
Sure. Keysan, you might have to buy him some dinner, man. He said some nice things about you, brother. He said he said some real nice things. Carry his book back tomorrow or something. I don't know, man. Wow. But no, in all seriousness, guys, I mean, Keysan, how important is it to you, or how has it been, better yet, how has it been playing with the quarterback of Weber's caliber? Because again, he's, I said some things about him last year that he may not have liked, but it is what it is, right, Weber?
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Now he's grown up. He's done what I call, he's taken that next step to the next level, and he's matured. What do you see from last year to this year in his growth?
I see he's been improving a lot. I've been playing with him for a long, long time, ever since we were little kids. So it's just us developing this connection, this quarterback wide receiver connection, and we just go out and do our thing every time, every play, and just ready to get first down, scores, whatever we need to do to help the team win.
Sure. Guys, you guys are, again, going up against Harlem Friday night. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you guys travel to Harlem. How do you guys feel going on the road? I know you've had a couple road games this year, but are you guys more comfortable playing on the road or playing at home?
To me, I mean, obviously I like playing at home. It's fun having that home crowd. I think a lot more Guilford people actually will show up and cheer for us, which is a great thing to have. But in my opinion, I don't mind going to another school and, beating them there. I think that, adds another fire to our game, that we get to beat them at their home crowd on their home stadium. And another thing I want to add is Harlem really scheduled us as their homecoming game this year. And, to us, generally, that means it's you schedule a worse team for your homecoming game because, you want to have a good dance. You want a good win.
Sure.
So I think we really took that personally this week, and we're ready to, spoil that homecoming.
Sure. When did you guys start watching film on Harlem?
Me personally, I've been watching most of the teams. I've been watching since, week one. I check up on them every once in a while, but specifically on, Sunday, I really started diving into it just to focus on Harlem for the most part.
Right. After the win Friday night, guys, I know Coach Cap was very elated about the victory. I'm sure you guys were as well. What are some of the things that he said to you guys after the game? If you guys can share that with me, in terms of, because I think Coach Cap, was knowing him the way that I know him, he's probably looking forward to Harlem right away that Friday night after the victory, right? Would you say?
Yeah.
You guys know how Coach Cap is, a great guy. But, what did he say to you guys after the game? Did he tell you guys, hey guys, relish this time, but don't relish too long? Because we have to get ready for Harlem that's sitting at 4-0 right now. We have to go into their house and try to steal a victory. What did he say to you guys? Keysan, I'm going to start with you.
He was just telling us to celebrate the win that Friday. And then that Saturday, just lock in on Harlem, forget everything that happened in the past, lock in on Harlem, be ready to go Monday.
Leber.
Yeah, I mean, basically what Keysan said, he was obviously really excited to beat Hananiga. That's a huge win for us and the program. It's been 18 years, so that was really exciting. But, our game against Hano has nothing to do with our game against Harlem next Friday. So we really told us to move on to that and get, be prepared to play them.
Right. Sure. Guys, again, Harlem 4-0, Guilford 3-1. Do you guys going into this game, do you guys think that you guys are the two best teams in the league right now? Despite your loss week one, do you guys feel that you're probably the best team in the league right now?
Yeah, no, both of us are definitely in the top three. No knock to North or anything like that. Obviously, we feel like we should have won that game, and we feel like if we played them again, we would. A lot of mistakes we made that we want back, but Harlem's a great team along with us, so I think that we're definitely at the top of the conference.
Sure. Keysan?
Yeah, exactly what Greyson said. No knock to North, but I feel like we have our team has one of the most exciting offenses and defenses. So I think it will be a great game, but I think we'll come out with the win and be on top.
Nice. So guys, let me ask you this, again, you look at your playmakers that you guys have offensively and defensively. You guys have a bevy of playmakers on both sides of the ball. How is it that, you guys have been able to actually gel over the weeks and click both offensively and defensively? Obviously, practice has a lot to do with it. You probably practice with great intensity, but what are some of the other keys that has you guys right now playing at a really high level?
Yeah, I'd say that, most of us have been on varsity for at least 2 or 3 years. So we've been working together for a while, and that just builds a really strong connection. I can't really speak for the defense, but, the repetition and practice that we've had so far, we keep focusing on the same key things over the year. And I think we're really starting to solidify and, almost perfect those key focal points. And it's just helped us out so far.
Sure. Taylor, when you're actually on defense and you're rushing the edge there, what's going through your head? Is it get to the quarterback, make a big play? Are you not really worried about your guys on the back half giving anything up because you get great pressure? What goes through your head every down? Can you speak to us a little bit about that?
So
because you've been really successful. You've been very formidable all year. No one can refute that. You've been able to actually get, to the quarterback, flush the quarterback out of the pocket. You've been able to stop the run. Some would say right now you're arguably probably the best defensive player in our conference. So speak to us a little bit about that. for a second?
Every play, I want to go get that ball, whether it's a quarterback, running back, whoever. But it takes a lot of pressure off the D-line, that knowing that even if they do get the ball off, we have a great secondary back there that's ready to break the ball up or get a pick. As you saw last week, Messiah had two big picks at the end of the game. So we know that they're going to do their job, and we're going to do ours.
Sure. Yeah, because I don't know if you saw the show that I'm a part of last week, and I called you the Formidable One. That's the nickname that I gave you. So, I mean, Weber, would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I would.
It fits him good, right? It fits my man good, Weber, Weber, you tell me, are you excited to have him on your team instead of going against him every Friday night?
Extremely. I have to go against him sometimes at Scout-O, when I'm trying to help out, give the defense a good look, and it's a nightmare, I wouldn't want to be another quarterback lining up or having to line up against that, It's like a lot of the time you get no time to throw. It's not something you want to deal with.
Right. Guys, what's the goal here for the next 5 weeks? You guys, obviously you guys want to get through the 5 weeks. Are you guys starting to have that playoff talk amongst one another right now? Is that not started yet? What's been the conversation, these last 4 weeks? And what do you really look forward to here in these next 5? I know you want to get the victory on Friday, but what's the future look like for you guys in these next 5 weeks?
Yeah, I think we're especially focused on going 1-0 every week. Obviously we're 3-1 right now, and we'd like to finish 8-1. I think, we're not essentially, super focused on the playoffs right now, but I think we all have that bad taste in our mouths from last year, losing round 1, and we'd like to put ourselves in a better position to win a couple playoff games. So,
Taylor?
I know Cap stresses it enough. Just going 1-0, not also every week, but every day. Attacking practice hard, like how we've been this week, and just go 1-0 at practice every day, and we'll do great on Friday.
Well, fellas, I won't keep you. I know you got books to get to. You got a big game this Friday night against Harlem. Good luck to both of you guys on Friday night. Good luck the rest of the way. Stay healthy. And I hope to talk to you guys soon here on the Bailey Pod. Again, I appreciate you guys coming on. Definitely means a lot to me here on the Bailey Pod. Hope to have you guys here soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Leber. Yep, no problem, guys. Greyson Leber and Keysan Taylor, 2 Nick 10 stars over at Guilford High School. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, these two fellows are gonna really go on and have a really great career. I think those 2 young men there that we just were on air with are going to have some really good success on Friday night and in these next 4 to 5 weeks going forward. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my next guest who's had an illustrious career in broadcasting. One of my friends, you see him and I on his great show on the Overtime on Friday nights. Scott Leber of WTBO Sports and Fox. Scott, how you doing, man?
Hey, Tim, I'm doing great. I always enjoy hanging out with you, whether it's in our studio, whether it's here over the internet, or whether it's at your Mercy Health Top Performers, or wherever I run into you. It's always a treat.
Awesome, man. Feeling's the same. The feeling's the same, my man. Scott, I want to just get into last week's game, Hananiga, Guilford. I'm just going to start with my take, and then I'll let you give your take. And then we'll just continue to talk a little bit about what we saw in the game and what really Hananiga needs to do. Now they have 2 losses. They're sitting at 2-2. Some really tough competition coming up. As I'm sitting there and I'm watching Hananiga, and I've seen him play a couple times this week, and I've said this on there very candidly. They just don't look like the Hananiga of the past, like they did last year. And what I mean by that is that I just don't see a lot of playmakers this year as I saw last year and the year before last. And I think Hananiga is a good team. I think they're good, but they're just missing a lot of playmakers. And what Guilford was able to do against Hananiga Friday night was nothing short of sensational. And I look at Hananiga and I look at the pieces that are missing. I don't think they really have good quarterback play this year. as they had in years past. I think the young man, I think he does some good things, but I don't know, if he's going to be able to continue to put W's in that W column at that quarterback position for Hananiga. Defensively, I think they're really good defensively. I think, some things that they need to clean up defensively, as we saw Friday night, giving up big plays in the secondary. I think that back half of the defense needs to get better. I think they need to figure out how to get more pressure on the quarterback. I know they got some pressure against Leber on Friday night, but not enough to slow him down. So that's kind of my take. I think they just really need to regroup, figure out some things, and I just think some guys just really need to step up. I think if they do that, I think we're going to be saying some different things about Hananiga here in the next 4 or 5 weeks, because I know they're a good team. Again, but when you don't have that playmaking ability, some guys don't have that playmaking ability. As we see with Hananiga, it shows on Friday night. You don't have the big plays as you've had in the past. Your passing game is not as proficient as it has been in the past. Your running game is not as proficient as it had in the past. And I think that's what we're seeing at Hananiga right now. We're just not seeing that great playmaking ability that we're accustomed to seeing.
I think the coaches at Hananiga, they're realistic. They knew coming in, they didn't have an Isaiah Hui, they didn't have a Bryce Goodwine. Okay, so they realized they didn't have those top shelf athlete game breakers who could bust a 70-yard run anytime he touched the ball. They might have had one in the Sundell boy, who's also a wrestler, who would have been back at running back this year, but he suffered an injury during wrestling, had to have surgery in the offseason, so he decided to sit out football this year. Had he been on the team, they might have had that additional playmaker who would have helped. But to me, I'm impressed by Hananiga from this standpoint. They don't have the athletes, perhaps those top level ones at running back and receiver. I'm talking. They have got athletes at other positions, but at running back and receiver, they don't have those game breaking speedsters. Yet they're hanging around a lot of these games like they did last week. I mean, they were driving twice in the final minutes at Guilford with a chance to at least tie up the game, and then Messiah Tilson steps in and picks off 2 passes. So I'm impressed with the grit and the no quit of the Hananiga kids. And they do still have some big, strong, powerful kids. So if you're going to play this Hananiga team, you still got to be ready for a physical battle. Drew Shockley, I'll say this. Coach Zimmerman told me a couple of weeks ago, Shockley's a really good running quarterback, and I hadn't seen that in the little he played a year ago. But I started to see that last week where he did have some nice runs. And I think, he's coming off a hamstring injury that caused him to have to sit out the first couple of games. And I think now, from what I saw him last week, that hammy's come around. And so now he's going to give them more of a running threat than they've had up to this point. So all in all, Hananiga has set the bar so high the last few years. It's hard to keep hitting that high bar. So this group probably can't quite hit that bar, but they're still a good team. And I think they got a great shot to make the playoffs still. So they just got to keep getting better. And I think they're going to be fine. They're going to have a nice season.
Right. Yeah. And I Scott, I would agree with you. I think they're a good team. I'm not saying they're not a good team, but I think like you just alluded to, I think they're missing some key pieces at some really key positions. I really haven't seen them really stretch the field this year, as we're accustomed to seeing Harlem do year in and year out. The run game this year has been kind of subpar. They have a good offensive line, but I'm just trying to figure out, okay, you have a good offensive line. Why aren't we seeing your running backs pop one for 40, 50, 60 against good teams, that is. They played Guilford, a good defense the other night. I thought Guilford did a really good job of slowing down the run game of Hananiga. And then Guilford also, too, did a good job of not allowing Shockley to complete passes that he was trying to complete. But you got to give it up to Hananiga. The kids don't quit. They're well coached. I think they're going to figure something out. Then maybe try to get more players in at key positions that can make plays. I think that's what great coaches do. They figure out, okay, if the guys that we have right now out there on the field aren't making the plays that we need them to make, then we need to find other guys to step up that can make those plays.
Yep. Well, they still got plenty of time. I think their schedule's favorable too, because they've already got Guilford and Harlem out of the way. So they've got the Friday night. They got a great matchup at in Rockton. They're playing Freeport. Freeport's 3-1. So I think this is going to be a really good matchup to see. Let's see how good Freeport is. Their schedule hasn't been the strongest to this point. And let's see if Hananiga gets a win here. That's a pretty big win for Hananiga. So that should be a fun game for both teams.
Right. We're going to shift to Guilford. Guilford, we saw them in week 1, loss to Belvedere North in week 1. They wish they could get that back, as Weber just stated in my first part of the show. And, I look at Guilford, Scott, and I see a different team than I did in week 1. To be expected. I think Guilford has some of the best playmakers in our conference. Weber has really taken his game to the next level. He looks like a totally different kid than he did from last year. They've added some other pieces in their offensive scheme. You add Taylor more in the offensive scheme, and then now you add Lopez, and you got Porter doing what he's doing on the ground, and you have that great offensive line. I really like what they did the other night offensively. They really didn't turn the ball over a lot on Friday night. They ran the ball well. And they threw the ball well. I thought Weber, that was probably one of his better games that he's had all year. What they did on defense was nothing short of sensational. Taylor keeps getting heat on the quarterback, the formidable one, I call him. He continues to do his thing week in, week out. He seems like he can't be blocked. The other defensive guys are stepping up. They do well in the back half of the defense. Obviously, Tilson had the 2 INTs. He had the one to seal the game on Friday night as Hananiga was threatening to score to go ahead and win the game. Guilford to me right now is a team that, if you played them already, I wouldn't want to play them again a second time. I mean, they're that much improved, Scott.
Well, yeah, and I was impressed with them in the opening game against Belvedere North, but it kind of got away from them. They were at the end, but again, they were marching and had a shot. I think for me, Guilford, the big thing, the talent's unquestionable. It's there. Okay, the 2 young men you just had on, plus Messiah Tilson, that's top shelf Nick 10 talent. Then you got an offensive line there that's got like 3 guys who have third-year varsity now, so they got some experience there. They got the Porter kid. Here's a couple of names I'll throw at you on defense too. We don't talk about enough. Let me find my notes here. Alec Timke, junior linebacker. He was a stud last week. Yeah. He had 11 tackles, 2 TFLs. He's only a junior, Alec Timke, so watch for him. And then the other one is Davian Wells, who I've seen make some big plays this year too. So they've got a lot of good players all over the place. What I needed to see last week from Guilford is show me you can beat a really good team. Now, is Hananiga really good? I don't know about really good, but they're a good team. Right. So and Guilford went out there and beat them. So now, okay, I've seen Guilford beat a good quality team. Now I can say, okay, they're ready. They're ready to compete and contend for a championship this year. And to me, I think Belvedere North, Guilford, and Harlem are just so even. It's just such a fine line between all 3 of them that when those 3 play each other, I wouldn't be surprised who wins. It could go any of the 3 ways,
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree, Scott. I totally agree. They got a big one coming up Friday night. I think Guilford's going to be prepared. I think Harlem will be prepared too. 2 great teams going head to head. It's going to be a showdown Friday night over there at Harlem. So good luck to both of those teams. Scott, let's go ahead and pivot real quick. I'm gonna get going here because I know you got to get moving as well. Let's go over our top 5 teams in the Nick 10 thus far. I'm going to start with my list here. My top 5 teams through week 5. If I can find it here on my board. Here we go. Bailey Pot. Nope, that's not it. Bailey Pot, top 5 teams. Got a lot on my board. Bailey Pot. Nope, that's not it. Let's go to yours. I see yours right here.
Okay.
Let's go to yours. Let's start with yours. Yeah, I'll find mine in here in the grid somewhere. Scott Leber, let's go through your top 5 teams. Go ahead, Scott.
All right, B North 1, Guilford 2, Harlem 3, Hano 4, Freeport 5. That's almost what I had at the beginning of the year before week 1. I had that top 4 in that order, but I had Boylan, I think, 5th instead of Freeport, and Boylan is just kind of falling off the table this year. But that's my top 5. Again, those top 3 are so close. Then you got a little gap down to Hananiga and Freeport, and then we'll find out this week when Hano and Freeport play each other who really is number 4.
Right.
And I'm not saying Freeport can't jump up and beat some of these other teams, but this is the way I see the top 5 right now. And I'm sticking with B North number 1 only because I picked them at the beginning of the year, so
Sure.
I'm not going to jump from
Makes
that.
sense.
And the other thing that I really like about B North is they played so many big games, their seniors, the last few years, because they've made some nice deep playoff runs. They played a lot of good teams. They've got that big game experience. Whereas, Guilford and Harlem both were one and done in the playoffs last year. Of course, they played phenomenal teams in the playoffs, phenomenal teams. But B North has more of that big game experience, and I think that really comes in handy whenever you're playing a big game.
Absolutely, totally, I agree. My list. Let's go to my list here. My Bailey Pod top 5 teams. Here we go. Belvedere North 1, Guilford 2, Harlem 3, Freeport 4, Hononegah 5. Scott, I feel good about my list, man. I really do. I think B North right now really playing at a really high clip. I think they're going to continue to play at a high clip. I know they haven't played Harlem yet. They've already played Guilford. They got Guilford out of the way, and they haven't played Hononegah. So those are 2 big tests that Belvedere North will run into here in a few weeks. Guilford, again, they're playing at a high clip. I feel safe with them at 2. I think they may move up. Guilford could move up to 1, depends on, what Belvedere North is able to continue to do these next few weeks. Harlem, I feel safe about Harlem. I think Harlem's really going to actually continue to improve as a team week in and week out. They got the young quarterback Fawcett over there who's really doing a good job. They have some other key players at key positions that keep showing up every Friday night for them. So, Harlem's going to be in that mix. Freeport's doing well. Coach over there, Coach Devins over there doing a phenomenal job with those kids in that program. I think he could actually creep up next week or the next 2 weeks and move to that number 2, that number 3 spot if they continue to evolve week in, week out. And Hononegah, we kind of said it early along, Hononegah, good team, but, who's going to step up? Right now, I just don't know if they have enough playmakers, to maybe even play with a Belvedere North, to play with, obviously they played with Guilford, but I think the score could have been, a little bit worse than what it was, in my estimation. But, I think Hononegah right now is sitting in that number 5 spot for a reason. So that's my top 5, Scott.
All right. I mean, we're pretty much in agreement there. It's, those are 5 quality teams. Unfortunately, again, after those 5, there's a gap between the next 5. Jefferson had high hopes, and they were looking fairly good early on, but they've had some injury issues. So Jefferson's kind of been muddling the last week or 2 here.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, Scott, man, it's always great catching up with you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you having me on the show week in and week out. And we'll keep doing our thing, man, here for the next 6 or 7, 8 weeks going into the playoffs.
Yep, and I'll catch you on the sidelines at Harlem Friday night. Nothing's keeping us away from that game, right?
No, man, no. Hey, Scott, bring your popcorn, man. Bring your popcorn.
All right. I'll certainly do that. Why don't you bring some extra for me? Pop some extra for me, all right?
I can do that. Scott Leber, everybody. Thanks, Scott. We appreciate you.
All right, take care, my man.
Scott Leber, everybody. WTVO Sports and Fox Sports. Yeah, so I think Friday night, it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a well-fought game between 2 great teams, 2 well-coached teams as well. Harlem's done a really good job these last 4 weeks of putting points up on the board and making great defensive stops. They have a bevy of playmakers on both sides of the ball. You look at Guilford. Guilford's kind of the same. Great coach, bevy of playmakers on both sides of the ball, coming off a big victory last week. Now sitting at 3-1, and now, travel to Harlem, looking to go into Harlem and still that game away from Harlem. So it's going to be interesting to see how that game goes Friday night. So make sure you get out and you support those 2 teams and the other teams in the Nick 10. Guys, we're going to go ahead and continue to move on through our show. I bring you each and every week the Bailey Pod top performers list, and I'm going to go through that here real quick with you. My top performers list this week, we have here Greyson Weber. He made the list this week. Congratulations, Greyson. Messiah Tilson, Guilford, he made the list. Congratulations to him. Caden Mellors, is it from Freeport? He made the list. Keysan Taylor, he made the list. Who else made the list? Messiah Tilson also too. He made the list. Demarius Epps, he made the list from Freeport. He had a phenomenal game this past weekend. Xavier, is it Xavier McElroy? He made the list. Belvedere North. He had a great game last week over there against Boylan. And Antone Williams, DB for Belvedere North. Congratulations, guys. You guys have made the Bailey Pod top performers list this week. Keep playing hard, and I'll keep putting you guys up. If you haven't made the list, continue to play hard for your team and try to get on the list, and I'll highlight you in this fashion each and every week. So congratulations, that made the list this